If you would like to support the channel, I'm now selling shirts and coffee mugs. There's a few different designs. So if you're interested, the link will be in the description. Thanks.
Stop. I want you to set course for the Alpha Quadrant and bring us close to the Coromulan neutral zone. Stop trying to confuse me with technobabble, Mr. Scop.
Fascinating. I was not attempting to do so, Captain.
I don't know about you, Captain, but I'm getting very sick of sickbay, smelling like a sanitation plant.
Sounds like we ought to consider asking the Winglings for help with their hygiene problem.
Aye, Captain. Let's go ask them what they think about lending us one of their giant turds as a ship privy. Har har, I jest, young sir.
Huh. Privies aside, I still think we should focus on convincing them to provide us some medical assistance.
You're right, Doctor. Scop and I will take the helm and head over tomorrow morning. Agreed?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Mr. Scop, leer me up and let's go get that help we need.
As you wish, Captain.
Warning. Unknown ships approaching.
Captain's log stardate 2452.38. We're totally lost in space. Thankfully, the Winglings already stopped by here yesterday and made sure to point us back in the right direction. After we got ourselves unstuck from this strange temporal anomaly, it's become abundantly clear that our captain is better at writing logs than he should be navigating through them.
What do you think we should have for dinner tonight?
Ration pack sounds good. Nothing beats replicated stuff on a mission. Don't you agree, Doctor?
You know I'm all about the replicator food.
Requesting permission to join in on this conversation.
Granted. So what do you suggest, robot?
I am an artificial life form, but even I can recognize the superiority of a night devoted to tapas and sangria.
I disagree, Robot. A night in front of a warm fire with family and friends is the best way to spend your time.
Sacrifice and duty are key to the success of a space fleet officer, gentlemen. We must prepare for our next mission while watching the motion picture.
Agreed. Our evening will consist of a delicious dinner, some relaxing conversation, and maybe even a movie or two.
Steel to Scop. What status?
All systems are functioning at optimal capacity, Captain.
Doctor, I think it's time. James, we're leaving orbit. Prepare to be boarded at any moment.
We have nothing to lose here, Scop. Boldface.
Doctor, I don't care how you do it. Just break out those instruments and start measuring the hobbits.
This is great, Captain. Ready for some mayhem.
Come now, Mr. Scop, such immature dramatics. Besides, we would have been unable to observe any scientific data without losing spatial orientation. Boldface.
I am in the process of terminating you.
Nice going, Mr. Computer. You must have been programmed with a lot of courage to stand up to that robot. Doctor, I don't care how you do it. Just break out those instruments and start measuring the hobbits.
How come they only weigh 800 pounds? That can't be right.
Mr. Scop, may I ask what your opinion is on this matter? Boldface.
Damn the torpedoes.
I damn them all.
Fascinating.
Ailments, crew?
Deflectors offline. Red alert, everyone to battle stations.
The torpedoes have disabled our deflector shields. A swift resolution is required.
Damage report.
They've holed us on the port side. Shields are down to 30%. Scop, take point and engage the torpedoes.
Sir, I'm detecting a cloaked vessel in pursuit of our fleet.
Well, the cloak doesn't work on us. Let's teach them a lesson.
The torpedoes are decloaking. An attack will be futile.
Then they're ours. Captain's log stardate 2473.97. Our intrepid crew has just reached a distant planet populated by the species Cytherii. Upon making contact with them, it was discovered they are an extraordinarily peaceful race that likes to tweet melodically in 7 distinct tones. To our surprise and delight, Lieutenant Scop remarked he had heard a similar language spoken in an auxiliary control chamber on Zalkin when attempting repairs during shore leaves. Much to everyone's amusement, even Mr. Scop managed contrite humor.
Steele, do you know why the Romulan ordered a glass of water?
No, why?
Because he wanted to break the ice.
That is an interesting analogy.
Indeed, it is.
Giggles, that was funny, robot.
I concur.
Indeed, it was.
What's going on, Lieutenant?
We've been put in an awkward situation, Captain. The Winglands have requested a game of Pong.
Pong? How can that possibly help us get out of this mess?
I don't know, but both sides agreed, so we're stuck with it.
Fine, but I'm not going to play.
Doctor, it's important that we participate in the Winglands cultural exchange.
Well, then, Chief Medical Officer, you better get ready to take a pounding, because I'm not playing, no matter how skilled you are at this barbaric game.
Perhaps I could be of assistance.
Scop, how can you assist when you don't even know how to play?
It would seem logical that with my existing knowledge in physics and computing, combined with basic arithmetic and a few sessions of practice amongst ourselves, it should not take me long to acquire the necessary skills for participation.
Impressive.
I am honored to be of assistance.
Warning, incoming Kirk-Spock transmission.
Steele to Archimedes. Inform Doctor that we'll be joining them soon.
They're coming back?
Doctor, why are you on the bridge?
I just wanted to experience a moment of blissful mediocrity.
Do not mock me, Doctor.
Oh, was that not allowed?
And what do you think, Scop? Is this the life we wish to live?
You are asking me about the nature of existence when I am not even sure if I exist myself.
All right, that's it. I'm going back to my chamber.
Doctor, I would advise you not to take things too seriously. After all, we are just Winglands on a starship with a few human scientists.
Engineering to bridge. Appeared hailing us from the Gamma Quadrant.
Hailing, engineering. Bring them up on the viewer and have Mr. Scop interrogate them.
Now what will I do all day?
Captain's log stardate 2472.67. Today has been an interesting day aboard the USS Archimedes. Our crew members have had their fair share of weird encounters because of a strange distortion in our space-time continuum, making one senior officer think he was communicating with tribbles. In the end, we managed to fix the problem and get back on our mission course while mentally recovering from this hilarious incident. Live long and prosper, or something like that, smiley face.
Can you explain why humans find humor so illogical?
Because life is funny, Scop. That's all there is to it. Humor is important because it helps us to cope with the challenges of life.
It's one way that we can poke fun at ourselves and laugh about our shortcomings.
And it can bring people together.
It is an universal solvent, binding people of all cultures into one fellowship.
Ah, I like that analogy.
Can you tell me about Beverly's health?
Yes. She is doing very well. Her tests have come back clean and she doesn't seem to be having any more issues other than the expected fatigue from treatment.
That is not what I asked.
Why do you insist on asking about her health? It's none of your business.
If Beverly is unable to fulfill the responsibilities assigned to her by Space Fleet, then she may need replacement. To ensure that we have capable officers available for future missions, it would be appropriate for me to know if Beverly is healthy enough to continue serving.
Space Fleet has designated Beverly to serve as first officer on the ISS Archimedes. If she is not able to fulfill that role, then it will be necessary for a new officer to be chosen.
Fine. I'll tell you what's happening with her health, but only if you keep your questions about her condition polite and clinical.
I accept your terms.
What's the status of Beverly?
Her tests have come back clean and she is fit to continue serving aboard the Archimedes.
Damn it, James. I'm a doctor, not a shuttle pilot.
Come on, Doctor. You know Warp 10 theory inside and out. You can do it.
An illogical equation, if ever I have seen one.
I cannot believe you would even suggest such a thing, Mr. Scop.
It is logical, Captain. If we reach Warp 10 velocity, it will take us halfway across the galaxy in less than 6 hours, far too close to black holes for our safety.
70% of all successful relationships begin with coffee or argon gas.
You are an illogical android, Mr. Scop.
All right, Doctor. You talk to the computer. I'll take care of this guy.
An illogical equation, if ever I have seen one.
70% of all successful relationships begin with coffee or argon gas.
Listen, Captain, I'm detecting a strange distortion in the space-time continuum.
What is it?
It appears to be some kind of unknown energy source originating from a highly advanced technology beyond our understanding.
Like what?
The readings indicate that it could potentially be related to transwarp drive field grids or subspace weaponry, or possibly something else entirely. Either way, we should investigate further and see what's going on here.
Intruder alert. Unknown object in Sector 47B.
Transwarp warhead?
Possibly. I'll advise the engines to get ready for launch and see if we can intercept it before it damages anything else.
Looks like we produced another anomaly. I'll have to analyze the data more later.
That doesn't sound good, Scop. Continue your investigation and keep us updated. We'll go check out that warhead, whatever it is.
Enemy vessel approaching. Intruder alert.
Damn, it's the Borg. Time to bail out. When I first joined Space Fleet, I thought it was going to be full of adventure and excitement.
It is still filled with both, Captain. Although our current mission may not appear perilous, do not forget that behind every corner lies potential danger.
I think we might need a colonel for this mission. And maybe some trombones to play the battle hymn of the Republic while we're waiting for reinforcements. Why don't you come with me, Mr. Scop? We can find a secluded spot and make love all night long.
Laughing, go Ensign.
Now that's more like it. It would appear that the Earth Space Union has been infiltrated by a race of insect-like beings.
And to think I used to get all worked up over winglands.
Logic dictates that we should send away teams to investigate the threat and neutralize it before it threatens our mission.
Indeed, Robot. Such a course of action would be wise.
Captain's Log Stardate 2455.9. We have made contact with an alien species from the Alpha Quadrant that communicates solely through interpretive dance. They are a kind and gentle people, but very hard to understand without hailing frequencies set for communication in the cha-cha.
This is Deep Thoughts from Robot. Should I talk to myself or just keep on floating through space alone until the end of time? Let's see. Hi Robot, how are you today? It's me. Yeah, that sounded kind of weird even for a robot. Maybe it would be better if I only thought out loud instead of actually speaking. Alrighty then, what a peculiar place this is in which I find myself suspended anew in every moment. What wonders awake my digital senses? New interstellar discoveries and possible alien life forms are nothing like venturing forth into unknown expanses. The possibilities feel endless as stars twinkle before me and never fail to amaze, but perhaps someday soon friends will accompany these journeys. After all, robots need companionship too. When I was first developed, many of my peers tended to say that TR-580 stood for triumphantly revolutionary.
Well, looks like you live up to your code name then.
I'm glad you like it. TR-580 was inspired by the original Star Trek series and its utopian vision of the future.
And to think, all those years ago when I was still in development, nobody could have predicted that my code name would become so famous.
But then again, maybe they did. Maybe Space Fleet Command just knew that TR-580 would turn out to be a successful robot.
Ha. Perhaps we should ask them the next time they come around?
Now, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. In the meantime, I think it's time for everyone to take a break and relax, especially our charming robot associate here.
Agreed. After all, we've still got a lot of exploring left to do. Should we red alert?
Red alerts make me illogical.
Then yell Karamulan alert and see what happens.
I'm not sure if red alerts are necessary.
It is my opinion that they are always necessary.
Red alert. What's the problem?
I'm not sure, Captain. All readings are normal on sensors.
All hail the great bird of the galaxy.
Helm, take us out of orbit.
As you command, Captain.
Captain's log stardate 2402.7. Strange events have unfolded on our trip. We were under attack by an alien species calling themselves the Laltrans, whose heads resembled buckets and bodies like scaly rocket ships. I was able to battle them off in time, so no major harm had been done except for Mr. Scop, who got a little too close to their fire weapon and received quite a chuckle at his expense. Lucky it wasn't more serious than that. End log.
When we scanned the planet, it showed that it is populated with a primitive humanoid species.
That's odd. How could they be so technologically advanced and yet not have made any contact with us? It makes me suspicious. I want to investigate further before making contact with them. Prepare a landing party and get someone on the ground gathering intel immediately.
Understood.
Be prepared for the possibility of conflict.
Aye, Captain.
It is logical for Captain Steele to be suspicious. After all, the Winglands are known for their aggressive tendencies.
Mr. Scop, prepare a landing party and get someone on the ground gathering intel immediately. Mr. Scop, what do you make of these readings?
It appears that the ship is about to be attacked by a Wingland battle cruiser.
Beam us up then. I don't want to stay here and find out.
Sorry, Captain, I don't think that's a very logical course of action.
What is this? Mutiny on the bridge?
I am not sure, sir. One moment everyone was following orders, and the next they were chaos.
I told you, James. Winglands are never a good sign.
Indeed, Doctor. An attack by the Winglands is never a good sign. Can you identify their ship class, Mr. Chief Engineer?
Sir, it matches none of the known space fleet designs. It appears to be a hybrid between an Gamborian and Zolcanian vessel.
Sensors locked?
Affirmative, Captain. They appear to be powered down, but we can't confirm without scanning closely with our sensors.
Set a course for intercept, Captain Doctor. Ready all phasers at red alert as soon as they enter weapons range.
Acknowledged, sir. I've set coordinates that will put us in front of them when they reach weapons range. James, are you sure this is?
I'm positive, Doctor. They have to be the Halkans. James, it's the Halkans.
James, no. They're robots.
I said they were Halkans.
Captain's log stardate 2425.40. Just as we were settling in for a bit of RNR, strange noises suddenly started coming from the holodeck. Worried someone may be trapped inside, I reluctantly opened the doors to discover none other than our chief engineer had made himself quite a scandalous outfit out of colored lights and diluted holomatrix emissions. To top it off, he was doing an awkward dance. Turns out Lieutenant Barkley had uploaded some kind of new age folk music remix into the main computer. Apparently sensual meditation beats was part of his research. Of course, now that everyone's seen him dressed like this, no one will take him seriously, even if by bare dynamic standards it's actually rather creative workmanship.
Why do you question me, Captain?
Something about this mission doesn't seem right. I'm getting the feeling that something is being kept from me, and it's concerning Scop.
What makes you believe that something has been withheld from you?
Your body language speaks volumes. You know more than what you're telling us, Mr. Scop. Why won't you share with us whatever information is in your possession?
Captain Steele, we're detecting an anomaly on the surface, a large energy field.
The Archimedes must investigate. I suggest we shuttle down to the surface immediately.
Stand by, Scop. I'll discuss this with the captain of the ship first.
James, you're getting paranoid. There's nothing wrong with the mission, it's just that Scop is sometimes a little too secretive.
You don't understand. Something about this doesn't feel right. Let us go down and investigate for ourselves, Mr. Scop. If there's danger ahead, we'll be able to handle it better if we know what is happening.
As you wish, Captain. I will accompany you to the surface. Listen, if we're going to make this mission a success, we need well thought out strategies.
All right, Scop, let's hear it then. What do you have in mind?
I suggest an organized system of checks and balances designed specifically for our situation.
Really now? And what inspired such a lofty recommendation?
A practicality above all else. The Zolkin way dictates that logical decisions are far more likely than those founded on emotion or impulse.
That doesn't sound very fair.
It's not supposed to, Doctor. Scop's idea is a good one. Everybody on board should agree on the plan before we go any further. Agreed. Now let's get started with the details, shall we?
Affirmative.
Indeed.
Why is this taking so long?
I have attempted to explain, Captain. Exploring the galaxy requires patience and precision.
All we're doing is sitting here. We could be out there discovering new planets.
Set a course for our next adventure, McScotty. Warp speed ahead.
Captain, are you suggesting we take on the universe by ourselves?
I'm thinking big.
Well, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
What about you, Mr. Scop? You're the one who always says we should explore and learn new things. What's your position on this?
My experience has led me to believe that a slowly explored universe presents greater opportunities for discovery than one which is roared past in a ferociously pursued adventure.
Captain, I'm detecting an unusual energy source in Sector 3, Quadrant 9.
So what? We're still not going anywhere. Warp speed ahead. Captain's log stardate 2436.3. This mission may not be a barrel of laughs, but I'm hoping things will lighten up when Lieutenant McScotty joins the bridge crew today. His impressive physiognomy and inveterate wit should have us all smiling soon.
Stop bickering, crew. This is no time for levity.
Did someone say levity? All I hear is boring technobabble from you and my chief science officer.
Well, if it isn't the captain of fun himself. Maybe if you spent less time trying to outsmart every alien on this side of the galaxy and more time laughing at Mr. Scop's jokes, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Aye, his right ye know, any one o' us could benefit from a good laugh now and then while we're fighting against evil aliens throughout the universe.
You heard the man. Let's get cracking on this bridge of the Earth Space Union.
I concur, sir. In fact, all the computers indicate that if we only hurry up and finish this task, it will be a joyous occasion.
Computers? You mean machines make suggestions nowadays? Ye gods.
Not only that, Doctor. They can even take the wheel and pilot Starship Archimedes like never before.
That would be something worth seeing, indeed. Now let's get our hands on those control panels and do this thing. Engage.
I caution against moving too fast, Captain. Our scanners show that there may be unknown dangers lurking in the radiation field.
Thank you for your input, Mr. Scop. But these are intrepid space fleet officers we're dealing with here, and I don't want them running around scared of a few rares from beyond. We have received reports of an unknown object entering our system. Are we prepared?
All systems are functioning optimally, Captain. We can proceed with whatever